Namaste students, I JVN Tanshi Sani am here to present a lecture on the rights of the indemnity holder. So, this is applicable in second semester of BA LLB, BCom LLB and BB LLB. Also in LLB second sem, right? So, we already dealt with the basic concept of contract. Now, we'll further move in the basic concepts of indemnity, guarantee, and bailment pledge, many more, right? So, first of all, again, with a little revision, I just want to continue that we dealt with the topic of indemnity. It was found in the section 124, right? Now, I told you who a person is or who the indemnifier is and who the indemnity holder is. Done. I'll again explain you. The person who, suppose I'll take an example, person A and person B. There are two persons. Person A is a person, hmm, and person B is a insurance company. So if insurance company says that yes, I'll give you general life insurance, I'll assure you that if in case of any damages, in case of any cost, in case of any sum, if you will face any problem, then I'll be there to compensate. We already know the term indemnify. Indemnify means to make good the loss or to compensate for the loss. That is a person who is uh, a person basically who is suffering from any damage, any bad thing, or any injury. So he or she, on the behalf of a company or any other person, is being compensated. Clear? So let's move forward now. We discussed with the concept of indemnify, what a concept of contract of indemnity is. Now, the person, the insurance company who is assuring you that yes, in case of any damages, I'll be there to compensate you, it is termed as a indemnifier or a promiser that yes, I am promising you that in case of any damages, in case of any emergency, or in case of any injury, I'll be there to help you rather. Clear? So here the insurance company who is providing general life insurance is termed as a indemnifier. Now, a person B, the person A, he is a person, right? The insurance company is promising Mr. A that if you will be injured, then I'll be compensating you. So Mr. A is termed as a indemnity holder or a indemnity or an indemnified, right? Now we discussed the topic of indemnity holder, a contract of guarantee, indemnified, promiser, promisor. Now definitely, if there is a term called indemnity holder, so he or she must possess or have a following rights. So now we'll discuss the rights and liabilities of indemnity holder. Rights of indemnity holder is being defined under section 125 of Indian Contract Act 1872. Right now comes there are basically three remedies. Number one, let's sort it out in short form. It is DCS. D means damages, C means cost, and S means sum. So basically we need to remember three words like DCS. These are the rights of an indemnity holder. Clear? Moving forward, in case of damage, first one is damages. What happens when a person will face damage? Like listen, there are, let's take an example, there are certain companies who are only busy in providing who are only busy in giving the rights and compensating. Basically they are compensating to those persons who are dealing in hazardous substances like factory machines, basically those who can provide injury to a human being. Clear? Now what happened next is damages. Suppose I am a worker and other parties in insurance company, if I am working in any hazardous substance, or there was a contract of indemnity between me and the company. So if I face any damages, like from anything, any injury basically, so the other party, that is the insurance company, will be held liable to compensate me for the losses suffered by me. Clear? Then comes one more thing. Why this damage is termed as an rights of indemnity holder? Because indemnity holder is a person who's been assured by the other party, who's been rather assured by the indemnifier, right? So definitely, if I am being assured, if I am being compensated, so there must be many several rights that I possess basically. So damages was the first one, first right that an indemnity holder possesses. Now comes a second right, that is cost. Second is the cost. Like, again, I am a normal person, the other party is the company. Hmm? Cost means what? If I am involved in any case, right? Any case means if there are two conditions. Suppose first is if any case is filed against me, or second condition is any case is defended, means I am defending a particular case. ठीक, तो definitely an amount and expense is being made, so that expense would be borne by the insurance company. I repeat, expenses of any court case that is been either filed by me, or any case in which I need to defend myself, both the expenses will be filed by the indemnifier, because I am indemnity holder oblique indemnified. The other party is termed as indemnifier. Clear? Now what? I think both the concept must be clear, damages and cost. Third is the sum. What actually a sum is? Sum means basically a compromise between two persons. Suppose let's take an example for principal and an agent. You are a principal, means the main party, and I am your agent. I am selling property on your behalf, right? Now what happened basically, that if I am dealing with any other person on your behalf and I need to compromise, or I need to compensate him uh, regarding your transactions only, then you will be held liable, means the principal will be held liable to compensate me, because I am only an agent, I am not the basic party. I am providing the other party money on your behalf, on the behalf of a principal, right? So it will be bared by you. Now, I think the rights, basic rights, that are damages, sums, and cost. Damages, if I am suffering any damage, you will be liable, means the indemnifier will be liable to pay me. Cost, if any case is filed against me or by me in the court of law, then it would be basically compensated by you, or the indemnifier. Third, sum, if there is any compromise, then the principal would be held liable to compensate me. I hope these three parts must be basically clear to you. Moving further, contract of indemnity only covers two basic concepts. It does not cover in everything. It covers the two basic concepts. It only compensates the damages in these two conditions. First condition is by the conduct of the promisor himself, and by the conduct of any other person. ठीक है, means if I suppose, let's take an example, person A is a promisor, insurance company, person B is a normal person, ठीक, and I see as like any other person, I'm like C is the third person here. So if any damages will be done, or if any damages is being conducted on behalf of promisor, means the person who is promising me, or the person who is the indemnifier here, it will be compensated. Or if a person is if the act is being conducted by me, or means the third party, person C, then also it will be compensated. But a big but if it is compensated by, if any damage is done by the by the same party, means by the conduct of a promisee or the conduct of the indemnity holder oblique indemnified, it will not be treated as a loss and it will not be further compensated. Right now, what happened? Any act, one more thing, any act by God. I think you must have watched the movie named like Akshay Kumar's movie Omji. So, oh my God, in that it was shown that any act of God cannot be compensated because this is natural. Nobody has the right. Like we already dealt with the concept of life insurance, that we cannot further classify it as life insurance company. Life insurance company cannot be done as an indemnity holder, because means life insurance cannot be compensated because we can pay the person an amount, but we cannot bring back the life of a particular person. So life insurance company is also not included in the rights of indemnity holder, and the act of God is also not covered under this. I hope the concept must be clear. Now, moving further, all the essentials must be like of a valid contract. All the essentials of contract of indemnity must be same as a valid contract. What were the basic essentials in a valid contract? It was consideration, means quid pro quo. In return, definitely we must get something, right? Then comes free consent. Like free consent is, if we are entering into a particular contract, the consent must be free. It must not be forced by any other person. There must be no coercion, there must be no misrepresentation, there must be no mistake, nothing must be there. The consent must be totally free. ठीक है. Then comes what? It comes competency to contract. We already know that there are certain eligibility there, that only these particular persons can contract. We all know that a person who is of sound mind can contract, a minor cannot contract, a lunatic cannot contract. These are the eligibility or criteria made because we know that a minor has the capability, uh, do not have the capability to think that what is very good for him or vice versa, that is what is bad for him. But an sound mind person, an adult person, at least know this much, that if he or she is entering into a particular contract, that it may not be very harmful for him, very dangerous for him. A person who is lunatic or a person who is mentally unstable, suppose today he enters into a particular contract and he don't know that what he going to suffer further. He just thinks that yes, he is entering into a contract, but later on he suffered from it. He has to be he suffered from losses, so how will he bear the losses? Right. One more thing, in case of minor, we must assure that minor is only benefited with profits. Minor is not at all benefited with any type of losses. Clear? Next come the lawful object, that if we are entering into a particular contract, the object must be lawful. The object must not be unlawful. It must be legal. Suppose I already discussed it earlier in earlier videos also, that a person who is involved in illegal means and is saying ki I need a contract of guarantee, so here he or she will not be liable, he will or she will not be compensated at all. Let's take an example, A and B, right? B is saying that I'll always compensate you, hmm, in every act, and B is here involved in drug selling and suffered losses. Will B be compensated by A for suffering? No, a big no, no, never. Because here B is being involved in selling illegal activities. He's involved in malicious activities. He's having a bad intention, a malicious intention. So here, Mr. A, that means the company who's assuring Mr. B, will not be liable to compensate him. I hope the concept must be clear. One more short thing. Rights of indemnity holder is defined in the section 125 of Indian Contract Act, and it covers damages, cost, and sums. I hope it must be clear to you. Thank you.